This ball is crushed. Man, what a shot. Our step back three on the way. Oh, it banks in.
Yo, welcome in. It is the first ever edition of the Brothers and Ball podcast. Thank you for listening. We got Michael Douglas with me, and I'm Chris Douglas. We are absolutely loaded with topics for our first podcast. These topics are going to be ranging from the NFL draft, NFL free agency, NBA deadline and buyout moves. We're also going to be getting into some MLB headlines with the season starting tomorrow and some predictions as far as who's going to win what awards. And we're going to be welcoming in our first ever guest on the first episode, Mr. Anthony Sautter. That's going to be about 15 minutes from now. But Mike, how you feeling, man? I'm glad that we're able to get this underway.
Yeah, man. Long time coming. Feels good to be here. And, hopefully we keep this thing going. Let's get it going. Let's do this thing, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Looking forward to it. So, I want to get right after it. Like I said, we have a lot to cover. So in the NFL, we're talking about a huge, huge trade. Probably the biggest trade in 49ers franchise history, you could say. The 49ers made a huge statement by finalizing the trade with the Dolphins, and they moved all the way up to third in the draft. So San Fran sends an absolute haul to Miami, where Miami, including the number 12 overall pick, a first rounder in 2022, a first rounder in 2023, and a third rounder in 2022. So it does get confusing after that because obviously the 49ers and Dolphins made their trade. Now the Dolphins are sitting back at 12, but they stayed active and went back into the top 10 with Philadelphia swapping picks. So the 12th pick and the 123rd overall pick, a fourth rounder, is being sent to Philadelphia in exchange for Philadelphia's first rounder, number 6, and 156. And Miami's also sending a first rounder to Philly. So the Dolphins give up a first rounder to move back into the top 6 there. And now at the top of the draft board, we're looking at a dramatic turn. So I want to talk about what it means for San Fran because they're going to be drafting a quarterback now, is what it looks like. So there hasn't been 3 quarterbacks taken consecutively at the top of the draft since 1999. And that's exactly what it looks like to me right now. So we've seen the pro days this week from Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, and we're learning a lot about these teams and who they like and who they're linked to. So I want to start with the first question for you, Mike. Are you surprised that the 49ers are the team that moved up to make this deal? Because we kind of could see that someone was going to move up for one of these quarterbacks.
First things first, I'm not surprised they moved up at all. All season long they were talking about, there was rumors that, Bill Belichick was interested in Jimmy G, and there was really no pushback on that. So to see that the Niners moved up is not surprising. So you can book it. 1, 2, and 3 are all going to be quarterbacks at this point.
Yep.
No matter what. No matter how you slice it, 1, 2, and 3 are quarterbacks. You don't give up that much to move up to number 3 and not take a quarterback. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I truly love what the Niners did. They've identified someone that they like, and they're going all in. And Jimmy G can bridge that gap to whoever they draft. A couple years ago they were in the Super Bowl, so they're clearly capable. And if you hit on this quarterback and let him sit behind Jimmy G, whether it be the whole year, whether it be a couple games, whether it be half the season, whatever it is, I think you're sitting pretty for the Niners. Extremely well run, a great organization. They have their head coach. I mean, they're in good shape, and I trust what the Niners are doing. So I like the move, honestly.
Right. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there with the last thing you said. Like, you have to trust what the 49ers are doing at this point. They've been so good in the draft. They've been so good evaluating players and bringing in talent. And they just, they know how to pick them, basically. So for Jimmy G, you said you think they're going to stick with him this year, at least for the
Hmm.
time being, as a
Hmm.
placeholder. What does it mean for him in the long run? Because that contract is big. They're signing a lot of contracts there. Kittle's big deal's about to kick in. They just signed Trent Williams, which we're going to get into later on with some of our free agent talk in the NFL. So it means, it could mean that Jimmy G's on the way out as well, and they want to give the kid the reins to the team immediately. Do you think that is a possibility as well, or you think Jimmy G's going to stay for now?
So I'm going to disagree a smidge. You mentioned Jimmy G getting paid a lot of money, Kittle's deal getting, finally kicking in here. So Jimmy G, yeah, he makes a lot of money, but in quarterback terms, it's not insane.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I don't think they have to rush this quarterback they draft. You know, the way it looks like Lawrence and Wilson 1-2. So to me, the other three guys are a little bit of a, you know, kind of got to sit back and learn a little bit. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily think you dump Jimmy G. I think you let him sit back, kind of like an Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes type thing. You know,
Yeah.
um, not that Patrick Mahomes wouldn't have been great from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's easy to say now. But I mean, you can let Jimmy G play for a little bit, while you got him, and then you move on, and you don't have any dead money after a year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I think the Niners are sitting really, really, really pretty, and
Yeah.
it just shows me that they are a well-run organization. It really just shows like they all have their focus is all in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
you know. And
Yep.
I think Jimmy G's there for at least this year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he got traded, but if I had to bet, he's there for the year.
I agree with you. I think Jimmy G will stay, but that's more so, in my opinion, what we're looking at with the quarterback market. Like, no one's in the market to take on Jimmy G, honestly, at this point. And we're
Correct.
looking at
I mean,
2 years removed from this Super Bowl, where
right.
they were kind of like a quarterback away. So they're still trying to figure it out. They've been
Yeah,
working with CJ Beathard and all these guys in the meantime because Jimmy G can't stay upright. So I think it's time. And Kyle
yeah.
Shanahan even said he thinks, Jimmy's probably pissed that we moved up because he knows what it means.
Yes, I mean, look. I mean, we all watched that Super Bowl. He missed some throws that would have won them
And
the Super Bowl.
they were a quarterback away.
It's
That the
inevitable.
team was so good. The team was
It was
incredible.
inevitable. I mean, they had the Chiefs beat.
Yep.
Okay. They were up 2 scores going into the fourth quarter, and Jimmy G missed some throws late. And what are you going to do? I mean,
It is what
you
it
got to play
is. Yeah.
well.
Yeah, you
So
paid him the money, and you got what you probably could out of him. I think we'll see what Jimmy G still brings to the table. Maybe this lights a fire under him.
yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think we're in agreement that I mean, he's on his way out one way or the other. I mean, he's not making it
Mhm.
past this year with the Niners. I can firmly say that. You know,
That's a
but
fact.
let's transition here to the team they made a deal with, which was the Miami Dolphins, um, who have turned left tackle Laramie Tunsil into 4 first-round picks.
That's just
Okay,
crazy. That's just
it's
crazy.
insane. So they moved out of 3, moved to 6, right?
Hmm.
Um, and they can still get whatever player they want. But what the clear message is that Tua is their guy going forward. So what I'm going to propose to you here is: do you think Tua is the right choice for the Miami Dolphins going forward with a roster that can really? They're right there. They're a solid quarterback away from probably competing. Outside of the
Hmm.
Chiefs, I mean, they're there.
Yeah.
They have a talented roster.
All right. So I'm gonna give you a bit of a two-part twofold answer. Tua can be successful. Yes, you can build around him, absolutely, and have something good going. But he's the type of quarterback that's not going to put the team on his back or anything like that. He's just going to put the ball in the right spot when it needs to be there. So you need to surround him with someone like Chase or Pitts in this top 10 with your sixth pick. Now, I think that's a must. I think you have to start off with a weapon. Maybe if Sewell makes it to you at 6, you take him just for the protection aspect, and we know Tua can get hurt. But if you add a second tight end and you have 2 Pro Bowl caliber tight ends right there with Gesicki and with Pitts, that's a nightmare for teams to match up with. Or if you get Chase on the outside and you have Will Fuller, Devontae Parker, like that's the type of team that Tua can get it done with. So yes, if they continue to make the right steps around Tua, he can be the guy to build around. If you go, defense with these picks, it's not going to work out for them.
Yeah.
What as terms of like, Tua sticking with Tua and being the future. First of all, I think it's too early to bail on Tua to begin with. But what do you think? Would you have bailed on Tua and tried to reset something here?
No. You draft him 5th overall, right? He was the second quarterback taken last year's draft for a reason. Okay?
Yeah.
You took him at 5 because you thought he was a franchise quarterback. And to give up on him after, however many games, 10 games, 11 games, and in those 11 games, you were replacing him with Fitzpatrick constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So to give up on him there it's a bit too soon.
Yeah.
No, I'm not giving up on Tua. I agree. You need a playmaker. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. You cannot give up on Tua right now, and I honestly don't think he got a fair shot last year. Honestly, I know Fitzpatrick came in late and won him some games. But Tua won some games too. He went to Arizona. He won a big game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So he showed me a little bit. I think he played Seattle at home and played Russell Wilson. He went toe to toe with Wilson. I think he lost late to Wilson, but they played tough there. So I don't know. You ride out with Tua. I think at least another year, and you give him the range. Don't pull him here or there. But
Yeah.
with Fitzpatrick going, I think they're clearly saying, look, this is your job. Let's go. And then obviously with the trade, I think it clearly says, look, this is your job. Go get it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think you're right. I don't think he's going to be, elite top 10, but I think you can win a lot of big games with Tua with the right roster around him. They hit the coach right, Flores. He's unbelievable.
Right.
So they're on their way. That defense is going to be there. They overpaid for Byron Jones, but he's your second best corner because Xavier Howard was second in Defensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
So the defense is there. I like what the Dolphins are doing, and I would ride with Tua one more year.
I agree. I think it's definitely too soon to pull the plug on Tua, but I do want to move from Tua to his former Alabama teammate that was also a quarterback at that school at the same time. And the last leg of the deal is Philadelphia, and they moved out of 6th, erasing any speculation that they were thinking quarterback, which means that they're going to roll with Jalen Hurts this year. And just a lot of my friends that talk football with me are Philly fans, and they don't like the fact that they moved down. They wanted one of the elite playmakers at 6. And I think the Eagles made a responsible adult decision. I think they are smart to trade down and maybe snag one of the top 2 corners in the draft. I want to get your feelings on that, Mike. What do you think of the Eagles trading down?
All right, so they moved to 12, yes?
Yeah, from 6 to 12. And
Okay.
added a pick for next year, first rounder.
So there's 2 parts to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
At 6, right, you're probably not getting a top corner. A top quarterback. So I guess they felt at 6, if you're not getting a guy that's going to be better than Hurts, maybe you move back, you get the extra picks, you move to 12, you take the best available player there. Because you need help all over now, It's signaling rebuild. Um, and it does signal that they're going to go with Hurts at least for this year. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Um, I don't know. The Eagles, they're just a little weird, you know. I mean, they won a Super Bowl with Doug Peterson, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They paid Carson Wentz all that money. Then they trade him. Peterson gets fired. They hire a guy that has zero experience. I'm just lost for what the Eagles are actually doing.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as moving back, I'm okay with them moving back, and I like them moving back. I think it's better for them get the picks because they have a plethora of
Mm-hmm.
needs. So I'm gonna say it's the right thing to do. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I do. I think it's the adult decision. I think, the main people who are upset about it are those who wanted to see some type of splash, and they're in cap purgatory. They're eating $30 million of cap because Carson Wentz is going to play for somebody else next year. So that with that decision that you make, you have to understand that a rebuild's coming. So I
Yeah,
think it's just kind of tempering your expectations as a fan, if
yeah.
you're a Philadelphia fan.
That's tough for
But
the Eagle fans.
it is. It's going to be a tough one these next few seasons. But we'll see what those quarterbacks, amount to with Tua and Hurts now fully in the driver's seat with their organizations. But we have to segue and we got to talk about our New York Jets, and we have to talk about the massive changes that are going on in that organization right now. So what I've came up with for you, Mike, and this is going to be emotional for you and me. We both love Sam Darnold. These are 5 strong indications that the Jets are moving on from Sam Darnold. I'm just going to run down 1 through 5, and then I want you to react to this and tell me if you're on the same page with me. So, number 1 is obviously earlier this week, or maybe the end of last week. Zach Wilson's pro day was incredible. The New York Jets brass, the front office, the head coach, the offensive coordinator, everybody was there to see it. And he was incredible. There's nothing else to say about that. There's credit where it's due, and he's definitely a formidable prospect. He changed my mind about his ability on the field a bit. That was never my question with him though. I have a feeling he can play, but I don't know about his mental aspect of it. And comparing that to what Sam Darnold has, they're like polar opposites. I feel like Sam Darnold's the perfect guy for a franchise quarterback, at the microphone and things like that. But Zach Wilson's pro day, kind of wrapped the bow on this thing, I think. But moving on to the second point, we just discussed it up and down, very in depth. The 49ers traded up to 3. They're not trading to 3 to draft Sewell. They're not trading up to 3 to draft Jamar Chase. You don't trade up to 3 to do anything but draft a quarterback. You're putting yourself in the quarterback sweepstakes. You like 3 of the guys, you're cool with any of them, and you're going to take whoever falls to you. 49ers even were rumored to have wanted Wilson. And with the 49ers and Jets having this connection with Robert Saleh, you know that the 49ers gave the Jets a call. You know that happened.
Big time, no doubt about it.
100% that had to happen. So what happened? Joe Douglas said, "No, I'm good," and hung up the phone. I know what I'm doing with my second pick. So that's 2. And then 3, the non-existent trade market for Sam Darnold. I don't know what happened. At the beginning of the offseason, Schefter said it's possible that they get a first-round pick. I think all those hopes are gone. You have to look around and see what other teams are doing. The Washington football team got Ryan Fitzpatrick on a more expensive deal than it would cost for Sam Darnold next year. The Chicago Bears did the same thing with Andy Dalton, more expensive than Darnold would be next year. The Saints, they lock up Jameis Winston, they lock up Taysom Hill, and they don't even, maybe they thought about it. Maybe that's an internal discussion that they want Sam Darnold, but I haven't seen any links to the guy yet. And it seems like the trade market's completely dead. Jets are even talking about keeping him and drafting a quarterback, which we can discuss as well. But that's number 3. No one wants Darnold. If Darnold was of any value, I think the Jets would have already dealt him already. 4th, and probably the most obvious out of these, is Deshaun Watson is not getting traded this season. I don't even think Deshaun Watson is going to play football next season. If you put a gun to my head, I don't think he plays until 2022 when all this stuff settles. I'm not going to get into anything regarding him, but the Jets at one point were thinking about trading for him, I'm sure. That's not going to happen. He's not getting traded. And 5th, You have to look at what Joe Douglas has done with the team this offseason. So his free agency approach has not been the most aggressive in the league, but he obviously wasn't sleeping. He got some players at some decent value that he likes. If he was sticking with Sam Darnold, stay with me. If he was sticking with Sam Darnold next year, what would he have wanted to do? He would have wanted to overpay for Joe Tooney, overpay for a Kenny Galladay. You want to surround Sam Darnold with all the pieces you possibly can. And then if it doesn't work, then you know Sam Darnold's the problem and you can get rid of him after next season. But he's kind of taken this slow rebuild approach by getting the guys that he wants for value at his price. So to me, he's hitting the reset button with the quarterback contract. He's taking a quarterback at number 2. He's going to save some of this cap space for next year because they still have maybe 40, 50 million left. And he's in it for the long play. He's got his coach for 4 years right beside him. He's got 4 years to turn this thing around. He wants a fresh quarterback, and he wants his coaching staff to make sure that they get the quarterback right during his tenure. So that last one is the most important one for me. Joe Douglas is screaming to me what he's doing. And I don't know if it's obvious to you. I don't know if it's obvious to anyone else. But I want to get your feedback because this is our team, man. We've been talking about this for months.
All right, deep breath. So I agree with 99% of what you said.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I don't have anything really to rebuttal against that. So I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
All right. And I'm going to start with number 1. The pro day was great.
Yeah.
It was. But it could be a smokescreen. He could be blowing Zach Wilson up to just get a haul for number 2. You just saw what the Niners got for 3. Maybe you get a haul for 2. You keep Darnold for a year. You decline the 5th-year option and go from there. You load the roster up.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, the Niners, obviously, they called the Jets. Okay.
Yeah.
But they still moved up to 3. So that means the Niners have identified someone other than Lawrence and Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
100%. So does that mean the Jets are taking a quarterback? Probably. But you have to. I don't know how to put this. The Jets, they could be playing mind games with the league right now. They could,
Okay.
and and there's the other flip side. You said obviously Salah and the Niners are connected. Maybe Salah didn't want to fleece the Niners. Maybe they kind of tip their hand at what's going on, what they're going to do with the pick. Maybe they're going to trade it. Maybe you get your guy at 3.
Right.
Take number 3. We're going to trade number 2 so and so can get Wilson, whatever. The non-existent trade market, yes, it's gotten worse, but there are a couple teams. Number 1, the Carolina Panthers, I don't think are out. They wanted Wilson big time, but like you said, Wilson's not getting traded. So I will not rule out Carolina. And number 2, I still won't rule out the Washington football team. Even though they signed Fitzpatrick, we all know he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He is probably the second, third best backup in the NFL. Fitzpatrick's a great guy to have as a backup. But you could take a chance on Darnold in Washington. They added Samuel. They have McLaurin. They have a deep backfield. Ron Rivera is a well-respected, good coach in this league. Maybe Darnold flourishes there, right? Number 4, Deshaun Watson. We're not going to get into that. He's not getting traded. He's got his own issues.
Just take
right
him
now.
off the table, yeah.
Correct. And then Joe Douglas. Yes, he's shown his approach. His approach has been to get this team better. But do I think that he's kind of thrown in the towel as far as, I don't know. Galladay's been hurt. Maybe Galladay wasn't his guy. I didn't like how he let both tight ends go to New England. That bothers me. Do you overpay for Thuney? There's a couple guys still out there that you can get, right? Hudson from Vegas is still out there. So I don't know. Does he think the offensive line is that bad? He spent a lot of money last year in the offensive line. You know, the Jets they're out of their top 10 players in salary, 3 of them are offensive linemen. So I don't know. Does he feel like his line is good enough? So I don't know.
That's the question. There's a
that's
lot
what
of
that's
questions.
there is, and it's got to be cleared up. You know, because I don't like being in this little iffy stage here as a Jet fan. I like to know what's going on.
Exactly. I just feel like he's kind of playing it in the middle. Like, I have some players that I would love to have, but he had a clear price point that he wasn't willing to overspend on. Like Lawson got 3 for 45, or 45 over 3 years, and that's a player that you expect to pop and have a really good statistical season for the Jets. So I don't know. I think there is that caveat that maybe he's not showing his hand yet. Maybe he's willing to stick with Sam Darnold when the time is right and he wants all these pro days to blow up and go viral, and then somebody trades up, maybe even for Fields. I mean, Fields had a good showing this week. So it's all up in the air. It really is all up in the air. And the Jets still hold themselves in a power position, but I put a pin in every single mock draft I had where the Jets weren't taking Wilson. I am marking it in as Lawrence Wilson, and the draft starts after that. So, I mean, with that being said, Mike, we are, I want to hit a quick break. And then on the other side of the break, we're going to get into some more football stuff, some free agent signings. And we have our first guest joining us, Mr. Anthony Sautter. So we will be back. And
Exciting
this is
stuff.
this is the Brothers and Ball podcast. Welcome back. It's the Brothers and Ball podcast. We have our first guest joining us on the podcast. Now, on the real diamond, I'm not going to lie to you guys, this kid can rake. But before he raked, he was a straight heater. And sometimes it was straight, sometimes it wasn't. Okay? In his heyday, he was a master in all aspects of the diamond. All right? And he was a smooth-handed first baseman. I'm not going to sell this man short. Anthony Sautter, thank you so much for joining us, man. We're happy to have you, bro.
I'm happy to be here, guys. Very honored to be on the podcast, Chris. You definitely gave me a lot more credit than I deserve. I do appreciate it, but you said sometimes straight. I don't think my fastball was ever straight, but
it was cheddar, though. I was right about the cheddar part.
I was gonna say I won't take away the cheddar part. I mean, the cheddar was there. Just who knew where the cheddar was going? The cheddar was rotten. But I do appreciate the kind words, and I'm excited to shoot some baseball with you guys and whatever else comes up.
Hell yeah, bro. I do want to start with the game that we're going to start, as a segment here on the show. I'm going to explain it for you guys. It's called Justified or Just Foolish. I believe it's pretty self-explanatory, but we're going to give a topic to each other, and then we're going to tell each other if it's justified or if it's just foolish. Pretty simple. So we're doing this with free agents and the years and the deals that they got, whether or not these were worth it, or whether or not it was stupid. So I want to get right into it. I want to start with the New England Patriots, and I want you to answer first. So the Patriots paid Hunter Henry 3 years and $37.5 million. Is this justified or just foolish?
This is completely justified. Okay. Last year, their tight ends combined had less than 20 catches. Okay. By far the worst in the NFL. Okay. 3 for 37. That's just over a little bit, $12 million a year. It is completely justified. You had no choice but to go get some weapons. No matter who's throwing the ball, you have to go get somebody. And Hunter Henry, outside of that ACL injury he had, you go get him. He's been a player.
Sautter, justified or just foolish? Hunter Henry, bro.
I don't really agree with Mike often, but I'm gonna have to agree with him here. The only concern with Hunter Henry is obviously the health. I think that's kind of why his price was a little bit lower than normal. We see the Patriots when they're at their best, they're running that 2 tight end offense that McDaniels loves to run. We've seen it as long as time, right? When Gronkowski and Hernandez were both at their peak, that's when that offense was at its peak. So I'm 100% with Mike on this one. I think it was smart of them. Last year they Cam was not supported with any weapons. Let's be honest, that's why Brady's no longer there. So
Correct.
definitely justified. And let's see if we can get Cam back to a Pro Bowl level.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
I want to shoot the gap here. Like, I don't want it to be justified, but part of me thinks it is. I'm gonna say just foolish for what Sautter said. The injury concern being the main thing, and I think that Jonnu Smith is the better signing, even though you paid Jonnu Smith more and gave Jonnu Smith the extra year. I think Hunter Henry is a lot bigger risk for the price that you paid him, based on that injury history. Now that I said that, he's probably going to win, a couple Pro Bowls and a Super Bowl with the Patriots. So.
Comeback player of the year.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'll go on the record and say just foolish. So.
Oh, wow. All right, let's switch over here. Let's go to Trey Hendrickson. 4 years, $60 million to the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know why he'd ruin his career going to the Bengals, but go ahead, Chris. I'll let you start.
All right, so this one is justified. This is one of the best pass rushers in the league. I know he came from a stacked defense, and I know he was opposite of Cam Jordan, but he played significantly less snaps than a lot of the sack leaders last year, still ended up finishing in the top 5. So I would say this is justified. Cincinnati needs some help on defense, and this is a start. At the very least, it's a start.
Sautter?
I'm going to go with the opposite of Chris. I'm going to go with foolish. And the reason why is because, one, I mean, I just pulled up his stats for Hendrickson, and last year was the first year that he really popped. He's been in the league 4 years, and that was the first year he's gotten above 5 sacks in a single season. And Chris did allude to it. He did play in a stacked defense with Cam Jordan on one side and, a great corner. So a couple extra seconds to lock him down in the secondary. So I'm not saying that he won't turn out good, but I just think 4 years, $60 million is a big contract. And I think the Bengals, need a lot of help. So that's why they overpaid. But I'm going to go with just foolish. I think that money could have probably been spent somewhere else.
All right, I'm going just foolish as well. I mean, we've seen one season. Sautter hit it right on the head. Right on the head. We've seen one season of him, and he wasn't the main focus. You're focusing on Cam Jordan on the other end there. So I'm fully on just foolish. 4 for 60 for this guy. I'm being serious. I didn't hear anything about this guy until this season. Okay, I heard nothing, and then he gets 4 for 60 with the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay,
you have to start somewhere. It's the Bengals.
Okay. Well, you're the focal point of that defense now, and teams are going to key in on you. You're not getting 13.5 sacks. I hate to tell you.
Yeah, I think the Saints just found out this year too he was on the team. To be honest.
Let's move forward to the Steelers retaining Juju Smith-Schuster on a 1-year, $8 million deal, and apparently he denied more money from rivals. What are we thinking? Is this justified or just foolish? Sautter, you start us off first.
So I know that it's the name of the game is to for the teams aspect, right? Justified, just foolish. Can we change it to like Juju Smith type? I think on Juju's part, this is just foolish. I don't know how you take a 1-year, $8 million deal with an aging Ben Roethlisberger, who, let's be honest, did not look too hot last year. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, justified from the Steelers' point. Anytime you can retain your top target and put him back on the market in a year, you're going to get him. He wants to get paid, right? So you're going to get his best this year. He has no security. He has $8 million guaranteed. He's young. He took less money. It's just everything's pointing in the direction of, I think, obviously, you can't not say it's justified for this. I think just foolish for Juju, justified for the Steelers. I mean, if I'm Juju, if I'm taking 1 year, $8 million, I'm sure there's a lot of teams out there that would have paid him 1 year, $8 million that are, a very, very good teams with a better passing offense and a better situation than the Steelers. So justified from the Steelers' end, and Juju, you must really love Pittsburgh.
Shots fired at Rock Nation, the Juju's agency.
Boys, this is the easiest one of the night. This is
Yes.
by far, just completely foolish. Okay? Number one, listen to me. From the Steelers' standpoint, okay, Juju Smith-Schuster has one 100-yard receiving game since Antonio Brown has left. He has one. Okay, he's not an elite receiver. Not that 8 million is a lot. He's not elite. Okay, that's number one. And number two is, what is Juju Smith-Schuster doing, turning down money to stay with what you said, Sautter, aging Big Ben? Aging Big Ben. He's garbage. He's not an elite quarterback anymore. Okay, James Conner, he's out the door. He's done. Someone else is going to have to sign him. That ain't going to work. Okay, this roster is turning over, and Juju. I mean, he's only there for 1 year, but boy, oh boy, God forbid he flips an ankle or a knee. I mean, it could be rough next year. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, this is not it. This is not it. I'd have taken a deal. I'd have taken the deal on the guaranteed money.
Yeah. I like where you're coming from with saying that it's a good bargain for 8 million. Both of you guys alluded to that. 8 million is not a lot. It's justified for Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh drafts receivers so easily, and they just always have these studs, but it's justified. Like Sautter said, he's going to be a motivated player for a year. Let him do his dances on the logo and let him go out and do whatever he wants to do. And he's gonna be productive. He still had a solid season last year. I don't care about 100 yards.
Wait a second. Yeah, I do. They literally picked Chase Claypool. They literally put their hand in a bag and picked Chase Claypool out, and he had a better season than Juju Smith-Schuster. Okay? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, they're not locked into him, so the Steelers aren't really handcuffed. It's just terrible. I think Juju Smith-Schuster has underperformed, and I think that he is dumb to turn down that money, because if he has a subpar year this year, he's in trouble.
He's playing for the vets minimum next year.
That's it. On Pittsburgh's front, you have to establish a run game. Like, he had 97 catches for 831 yards.
Oh,
like, he's not going anywhere. You're check downing to death. You have to get a run game so that you can get some explosiveness. But for a 24-year-old receiver to get 1 year, 8 mil, a guy of his stature so far, I think it's a bad deal. Like Sautter said, it's a bad deal.
Bad.
Yeah, I'm with Chris. I think it's completely just. Anytime you pay a Pro Bowl player at 24 years old, 1 year, 8 million, there's no risk on the Steelers' part. If he goes and blows a knee out, look, all right, $8 million. Let's bye. We'll see you never.
Yeah. Look. So I think it's terrible on both parts, because I think the Steelers are. I think he was terrible, Juju Smith-Schuster, and not only is he terrible, he turned down more money. So, I mean, what is it? What are you doing here? You're garbage. He's trash. I think he's terrible, and I'm so glad the Jets didn't pay this guy. I'm so glad. They said the Jets were in talk, and I was a little nervous. He's garbage. All right, but we're gonna flip here to another Steelers guy, and I'm gonna start with Sautter, Bud Dupree. 5 years, 85 million for Big Bud.
I think that we all have to be. I can't see anyone answer this question any differently. Just foolish. What are you doing, Tennessee? We just watched the same script last year with Davion Clowney. What's going on here? Deja vu all over again. I don't see how you pay this guy 5 years. This is the same thing as Trey Hendrickson. At least Trey Hendrickson, I don't know, 13 and a half sacks. Bud Dupree, I mean, we're talking about a guy that plays on the opposite side of TJ Watt, perennial defensive player of the year candidate. He's in a great system where he really gets to exploit his strengths. I don't see how he supported that Tennessee defense that was consistently getting gashed last year. Consistently. He's going to be put, the expectations are going to be so high. There's no way this guy hits a 5-year, $85 million contract expectation. Good for him, though. I love seeing players get paid. He cashed in. He did the smart thing, took the money, but this will probably be the last money he gets. So on that note, just foolish on the Titans part. If you're going to spend $85 million a year on a player, or $85 million total 5 years, there's definitely other players I rather have invested my money in, or maybe a plethora of players to bulk up the defense instead of just putting all our eggs in the Bud Dupree train. That's how I feel.
It's absolutely just foolish because the Titans aren't a Bud Dupree away from going anywhere. That's the problem. There's so many more issues with the defense. You could have retained a Dory Jackson for this money and then gotten someone that's almost as good as Bud Dupree to come off the edge. It's bad. 5 for 85. I get there's hype around Bud Dupree, but he's coming from one of the most loaded defenses in football. And for all the reasons that Sautter highlighted, I'm baffled by what Tennessee's spending their money on this. I mean, you have Derrick Henry and you're wasting him at this point.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna waste much time on this. I mean, look, Bud Dupree is not a game changer. He's not winning you any more games than you won last year. Okay, 5 for 85 is too much, and that is all I'm gonna say. It is a terrible signing. That is just foolish. All right, boys, we're going to finish with this one here, okay? This is the last one we're going to go with, and I'm going to Sautter, our resident Cowboy analyst here, okay? And it's Dak Prescott, 4 for 160. Go ahead. Speak it. Go ahead. Praise
All right,
Jesus.
Mike, I know you're going to completely disagree with me because that's what we've been doing for years now, but this is 100% justified. You know, being a Cowboys fan, watching every snap, and especially last year, we saw what the team looked like with and without Dak Prescott. And I don't know how you couldn't justify $80 million for Dak Prescott after watching last year. We watched the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, Texas native. That was, you want to talk about a disaster. That was a disaster. I mean, Dak Prescott, when he's on the field, he produces at a high level all the time. He masks holes on the offensive line. I know everyone likes to point to that offensive line being great, but if I recall the last 2 years, I think it's been actually in the bottom half of the league, especially last year when, he's down to his third and fourth string tackles going into Seattle and New York. And I don't think Lyle Collins took the field, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, this guy's a warrior. He plays. It's more, it's just everything. He embodies the Cowboys, and I am 100% on board with justifying Dak for 4 years. The only thing this becomes just foolish is you are now by far the best team in the NFC East because you have by far the best quarterback in the NFC East. So if they don't win the division at least 3 of these 4 years during this contract, then there's egg on everyone's face, and this is just foolish. But the fact that you're easily in the best team in the division because of the fact that you have Dak Prescott and they don't, this is justified.
Oh my God!
That was beautifully said. I'm not gonna lie. That was poetic justice right there. Listen, Mike, before you get going over there, I can see you're already hot and bothered. Before you get going over there, you have to look at the numbers and just take a step away, take the emotion out of it. Okay, the Cowboys were a lost puppy without this guy last season.
Oh my God! They were
And
1-4 when he got
about
hurt.
masking holes. Okay.
Oh my God!
This guy will cover up anything you need him to, honestly. And with the winning seasons and the winning pedigree and just the toughness. Winning pedigree. 13-3, 10-6. 3 out of his 4 seasons have been winning seasons. His full seasons, that is. So he wins. The guy wins, and he doesn't turn the ball over nearly as much as he used to. He's improved every single time that he's stepped onto the field, and in the playoffs, he actually proved that his play doesn't diminish at all, and that's a serious question with other quarterbacks around the league. So it's absolutely justified, and I think the easiest answer that anyone can have on this entire list of players. But go ahead.
Well, before Mike goes, we need a baseline here for everybody listening. Mike tried to tell me and Chris that Carson Wentz was better now on team number 2. I think you tried to put Kirk Cousins, who's I think Dak's lost 1 game to, and it was a game through 400 yards. Defense unfortunately let him down. He can't do it all. So before Mike eviscerates Dak in this contract, let's just put a basis in the fact that this is a man who thinks Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott and has been defending Carson Wentz like he's your other brother. So,
I just want Mike to take the hate out of his heart for a second.
So let's start with this. Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott have the same amount of playoff wins. We'll start there. Okay. Number 2, Carson Wentz was going to win MVP until he tore his ACL. Okay. His team won the Super Bowl that year. That's 2 things. That's 2 things.
Was he quarterbacking?
They're the best team in the NFL before he got hurt.
But no, did he quarterback in the playoffs? Did he take a snap in the playoffs?
Okay. Moving on.
team got better without him.
So good for Dak in getting his money. Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys are completely foolish. Okay. Number 1, they could have had him for less money last year. That's number 1.
That I would agree with.
Okay. They literally let Dak run this entire thing. You could have paid him last year. You paid a running back who I don't think's that good. You paid Jalen Smith, who I couldn't find on the field this year. Okay. DeMarcus Lawrence, where's that guy at? Okay. I watched Amari Cooper at wide receiver. I mean, he ducked away from a ball late in the game, and Dak threw a pick before he got hurt. I watched him. He literally stopped running on a slant route.
You're referring to the Browns?
So, exactly. You paid all those guys before Dak. So how much do you actually value Dak? You let Dak play you for a fool. Okay? He might be a top 10 quarterback, and he may be worth the money. He might be. But I tell you what, they better win this division. They better win a division. If they don't win, Sautter, I swear to God, if they don't win a division, this podcast is going to take a turn, boy. I'm telling you.
There's no excuse. I will give you. You're 100% right. They need to go out and win this division and win it convincingly. I mean, when you're playing Daniel Jones, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Jalen Hurts, I mean, they should easily go out and win this division. I mean, the Redskins have a good defense, but listen, you have
5-1 in the division. 5-1.
I 100% agree with you. You lose the game in Washington, and you should win all the rest.
That's it. Agreed.
Agreed.
I wish,
we're on the same page.
I wish the game was justified or just foolish, throughout the entire contract negotiation, because then Mike's answer wouldn't have sounded so backhanded. Tell me if Dak Prescott is worth 4 years and $160 million. Yes or no?
The answer is no. The answer is no.
You're wrong. Then you're wrong.
You're wrong.
The answer is no.
Wrong. And
you're wrong.
No. You missed it. No. You missed the trade.
I'm not paying that guy.
I know. I'm aware.
Let me ask you a question. Last year, you could have got him for cheaper. Why didn't you pay him cheaper last year? Why did you wait till this year to spend more money?
That's not the question we're asking. Me and Sautter have been pounding the table for years saying that he deserves this money.
Listen to me. If he's a franchise quarterback, he played 4 or 5 games this year and got hurt. What changed in those 4 or 5 games where you say,
can I ask you a question now too?
Pay him?
Because he played all 16 games for 4 straight years. You finally saw what the team is without him. It's not Zeke that stirs the drink. It's not Cooper. It's not anyone else on this team. It's Dak Prescott. It's number 4. So that's why he made himself even more this year.
He's good.
He's good.
He's good, not great, not worth $40 million. Simple.
Now, I think.
Go ahead, Sautter.
I think Mike. Everyone. It's hard. Listen, Cowboys are 100% at fault. He should have been locked up when Goff and when Wentz got locked up. That's when Dak should have been paid. He never should have been allowed to get to the franchise tag. Because, yes, I do agree they could have, but at that point, what's the incentive for Dak to sign the franchise tag? He knows no matter what, his contract is starting at $40 million the next year after. He played the Cowboys, you're right. But the Cowboys played themselves because it wasn't last year. Everyone wants to point out last year. It's the year before. When Wentz and Goff signed their deals, Dak should have been followed right after. The problem is the Cowboys didn't want to swallow their pride and didn't want to pay him that rate then. They tried to discount and bargain, and they waited, and allowing him to play on the franchise tag is what killed them, and that's what happened. Just because they should have done it doesn't mean what's the incentive for Dak to sign? At that point, why not play it out? If he plays great, which he did, obviously we saw, who's going to break every passing record there was. Well, now his contract starts at $40 million, and what do you know? He's $40 million a year because it started at 40, and now he cashed in for 160. So 100% justified on Cowboys and Dak. It's a great fit. Home, and they got to win the division or else this becomes just foolish. But for the time being and the outlook, justified.
I have one question, and then Chris, you take us to break. I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
In these 4 years, 4 for 160, okay, Do the Cowboys make a Super Bowl? Not win one. Do they make one? It's
That's a
yes
really
or
tough
no.
question.
Yes or no.
It's a really tough question. I'm going to be an optimist and say yes, because right now I think that the NFC is pretty weak. So there's a changing of guard. The Saints lost Drew Brees, who was a blessing in disguise. But outside of the Packers and
And the Bucks.
the Bucks, who is that third team in the NFC? I really think with Dak and a couple. I mean, they need to spend all 10 picks they have on defense for this to be a legitimate conversation. If they go out and draft like idiots, then this isn't even a conversation. But if they solidify that defense, go get Surtain, go get a Tommy Tagai from Ohio State, plug up that run D, go get one of those fast linebackers. We all know Dan Quinn likes his 4-5 Deion Jones prototype pass coverage linebacker. You go get those guys and you supplement this great offense with an average defense, they're going to be a top 3 seed in the NFC. 17 games and another playoff team. I can't see them not having a serious chance to the Super Bowl. And we all know it's about staying healthy. You stay healthy, you put yourself the best chance. So, yeah, I say they do make a Super Bowl in the next 4 years of this contract. Don't know about win one. I say they make it.
All right. The reason why I'm saying no to them making a Super Bowl has nothing to do with Dak Prescott.
Fair enough.
And has everything to
So
do
then
with
why
Mike
sign him?
McCarthy and the coaching staff. Everything to do with Mike McCarthy, okay? Listen, I don't have faith in this guy when he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers to carry it. And Dak's not Aaron Rodgers. No one said Dak was Aaron Rodgers.
He's not.
Nope. No, of
So-
course not. Of course not.
Okay,
Stop saying him in the
exactly.
same conversation. No, don't say him in the same
so
sentence.
Mike McCarthy was elevated by his quarterback. I'm not sure that Dak can do that exact same thing. And I don't think Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl coach. And Dan Quinn, he might have accidentally made it there too. I don't think he's a Super Bowl defensive coordinator exactly either. So I'm just not high on the coaching staff. And you know, the coaching staff's not going to turn over and someone new is going to come in and they're going to go to the Super Bowl in 4
Jimmy
years.
Johnson
So,
not walking through the door.
exactly. So I don't have faith in the coaching staff. But hey, if you ask me if Dak's going to win an MVP,
I like
now
that.
we're talking about something different. Now we're talking about something different.
We're going
Your
Team
team-
Burger. We're drafting Pitts at number 10.
Your team has to be good to win an MVP. Let's be honest.
Oh, geez. He's winning the division out of 3 of these 4 years, like Sautter said. But
He better. He better.
listen, I
He
loved
better.
every second of that Dak Prescott talk. And we're going to hit a quick break before we get into some NBA, talking about the Knicks. And we're going to talk about some more baseball. This is Brothers and Ball podcast.
All right, and welcome back to the Brothers and Ball podcast. We are joined with Anthony Sautter, and we are finally going to get into some things that we brought Sautter here to talk about. Okay, baseball is upon us, and all of us being New York fans, one way or the other, there are some serious expectations this year. Okay, so let's start with Sautter here, and we're going to get into the Yankees, Sautter. Did they do enough to get back into the World Series hunt?
I don't know if they ever really left the World Series hunt, to be quite honest. We all know the team's loaded. I mean, anytime you have, two players that in Judge and Cole, obviously, who are two highly regarded players at their positions. I mean, Judge is probably top 2, top 3 right fielder in baseball, and Cole is a top 3 pitcher in baseball, arguably. I just think that combo, and then on top of that, the supplement talent, Gleiber, DJ LeMahieu, unfortunately, Voigt's hurt, but led the AL in home runs last year. I mean, all these guys are back. They're still cheap. There's Yankees still flexible in payroll, so if they do need to make a move later on, they can. So, yeah, I don't know if they ever left the conversation. I don't know if I'm necessarily happy with the moves they made. I would have loved for them to shore up the rotation more. What really scares me about the Yankees rotation is if we're looking at their end season rotation could consist of 4 guys who didn't even throw a pitch in the major leagues last year. And that's just like beyond scary to think about, especially getting into those later months in September and October when you're really going to need your best pitching performances. And we're going to be relying on guys that, 3 of them coming off major arm injuries, Kluber with the shoulder, Tyon and Severino, hopefully both, hopefully Severino will be back, but both of them coming off Tommy John. And then Domingo Germán obviously didn't pitch for other reasons, but he's the 4th guy I was talking about that didn't pitch last year. So we'll see. The great thing about the Yankees is, as we've seen, especially the last 2 years, incredible depth. They pull guys out of nowhere that they just seem to come up and produce at levels you wouldn't expect, and that really keeps them in the hunt. So, yes, they're still in the World Series hunt. Do I like what they did? Not in love.
Yeah. Listen,
Breaking
yeah,
news,
I know.
boys.
I got breaking news. We got
I'm
breaking
breaking
news.
this.
I was waiting for you to finish up. We got breaking
I'm
news.
breaking
I got
this.
it. I
I'm
got
breaking this.
it. Go ahead.
Francisco Lindor, 10 years, $341 million to the Mets.
Talk about timing.
I know. Look at that.
Right on cue, boys. Let's go.
Right off the cuff. I think, honestly,
big
for the
time.
Mets, I think it's a win. Money is not an object to Steve Cohen, so giving him the extra years or the extra money and not having to add those extra years in the back end, I think that was the smarter play. I mean, before we go, anything about a 10-year contract, does 12 really matter at that point? I mean, no.
Okay.
But the fact,
Of course not.
Yeah, who cares? The fact that 10 and gets to win, you pay him a little more money. What does it matter? I think it's a great move, and I think anytime you can lock up a absolute stud, switch hitting shortstop with charisma, everything you need. It's just, yeah, he's perfect for New York, and I think it's a great fit, and I'm excited to see what he can do in Queens. But congratulations to you guys. I'm sure you guys are both happy.
My initial reaction is, you pay this man in ones, shower this man in the money. let him just make a snow angel with all the money he just earned, because we just highlighted it. Sautter, you just highlighted it perfectly. He's a top tier shortstop in the game, and it's one of the most important positions. So, I mean, to talk, Alonso spoke to how important he's going to be for this team. And I think he's just the missing piece that the team needed, honestly, all along. But, Mike, go ahead and give me your reaction to the breaking news that we just had here.
So, boy, oh boy, I was the only one that was optimistic. You guys were
I wasn't feeling
nervous. Okay, and this was just a couple minutes ago, so I want my kudos. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Sautter, I agree with you. I think the 10-year deal is the play. I do. You're paying the extra money. But I like the 10-year play.
Right.
Yeah, it works.
Definitely.
I do. I mean, you're not paying. I mean, what is he, 28 now? What is he, 27, 28?
He's 27.
Okay.
He might be 28.
Okay, well, you pay him till he's 37, 38, fine. You're not paying him till he's 40 or 41. I think it's a great deal.
Yeah,
I do.
I think
Steve Cohen clearly, I mean, that's money he takes a dump and wipes his ass with. I mean, it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's clearly not scared to throw the money out. So,
Which is great.
I think the 10-year play is great, and you know what? Kudos to Lindor too. He put the pressure on the Mets, and I like the pressure he put on.
Right.
It put some urgency into the Mets. To finally put somebody in there.
Exactly. I think this goes beyond just the Lindor, right? Like, this shows that the Mets are gonna not be the Mets anymore. They're willing to go out there and spend money and not, the pressure applied was great. And now let's see. Now you have one good offseason. Let's compound it with another one. But for this year, definitely great. And I think that's going to pay dividends for them in the long run.
Yeah, to me, and it just shows like you signed Lindor to 10 years. You didn't just pay him $341 million to be an average team. To me, you're going to keep trying to get better and win a World Series. So
right.
To me, it also sends a message, like, yes, he's good and deserve that money, but this sends a message to me, to the rest of the league, to your own team. Like, we're here to win, so you better bring it, guys.
Yep.
Yeah. And just a note on this 10-year contract, there are no opt-outs. The man is a Met.
Met for life.
The man is a Met. But this is the Brothers in Ball podcast. We're going to hit a quick break, and we'll be back to give you our award predictions. But you can't ask for anything better than some breaking news on the first podcast.
That's right.
We will be back. Keep it locked. Welcome back. You're tuned into the Brothers and Ball podcast. I'm Chris. We got Mike. We got Anthony Sautter, our special guest for today. And we are finishing up our MLB talk with some predictions, my favorite. So we're going to go into who we think is going to win the AL and the NL teams-wise, and then our World Series winner, as well as Manager of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and MVP. So we're going to begin with the Manager of the Year, and I want to let you guys kick this one off for who do we think is going to win the Manager of the Year. I say, should we start with one league, or should we go with
Let's start
both
with
managers at the same time?
Let's start with a league and go to the other league.
All right, so which league are we starting with?
We'll start with AL since Sauter's a Yankee fan. We'll start there.
All right, Manager of the Year in the AL.
You ready for this? This one's going to hurt my heart. I think the Manager of the Year in the AL is going to be Alex Cora from the Boston Red Sox. And I'll tell you why. I think that a lot of people are writing the Red Sox off. I don't think they're going to be particularly great, but they are going to be scrappy and competitive. And I think that people just the way that they're being portrayed as like a terrible bottom feeder team is not true. They do have some talent there still. They have Devers. They have they have some pretty decent arms still. I think Chris Sale is going to come back and be Chris Sale. I don't see the major drop off. Do I think they're as competitive as the Yankees and the White Sox and maybe the Blue Jays and in the AL? No, but I think they're going to win at least in the 80-game range, and that's going to net Alex Cora Manager of the Year because people are going to think the Red Sox are a lot worse than they are.
I like that pick. I
hate it.
Okay, Mike.
And the reason why I hate it is that you have to get the votes to get this award, and I feel like there's a bad taste in people's mouth when it comes to Alex Cora.
Fair enough.
So when I think, I think Boston's going to play better than everyone thinks. I don't think playoff level, but I think they're going to be a tough team. I don't think he's going to get the votes. When it comes to Manager of the Year, I'm going with my man from the Blue Jays, Mr. Charlie Montoya. I think the Blue Jays are going to make the playoffs, and they're going to be up there with Tampa Bay. I think the Yankees probably win the division by a few games, but I think them and Tampa are going to be right there for the playoffs. And there's a lot of talent over there. Those boys can play, and if he can figure out how to put it together, I like Montoya.
Okay. Listen, I alluded to it earlier, and I strongly believe that there is a real good chance that the Angels finally live up to their potential. That means Joe Madden, their new manager, will win Manager of the Year in the AL. And strictly because he's taken over a team that has just been underwhelming altogether. You have Mike Trout, you have Anthony Rendon, you have one of the best prospects in baseball in the outfield with Mike Trout, and it's time for them to take off to this year. So I think Joe Madden's going to get the best out of his team, and like I said, maybe shake something up at the deadline, and this team is going to win their division, and that will get him the AL Manager of the Year.
I hope so. I think we all need to see Trout in the playoffs playing meaningful games. I mean,
maybe that's why I picked it. But I'm just operating off that.
That's what we need to see. Let's transition to Rookie of the Year in the American League. Sautter, what do you got?
This is an easy one. I hate to pick the obvious choice, but if you're saying anything but Randy Arozarena, you're probably going to be wrong here. And I think majority of this, honestly, is just because, one, he's seasoned. We saw what he could do. And two, baseball is about compiling stats. I don't see some of these other guys getting as many at-bats and playing time as Arozarena is going to get. And he's going to hit, top half of that Rays lineup. We know those guys. They focus heavy on on-base percentage. He's going to have a lot of opportunities to drive in runs and really drive in those stats that are, RBIs and average. So I really think that Arozarena is the obvious and easy choice here. Barring injury, I don't see how he doesn't win the award.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll take the opportunity to piggyback off Sauter. I mean, this guy it doesn't seem like he's a rookie. I don't think he should be eligible for this award, but based on the rules that baseball has in place, he is. And he's just a hitter. Like he can really, really rake. And I think he's the best hitter in their lineup right now. And he's going to be pacing that team all season long. I think he's going to be one of the top home run hitters in the American League, and he'll maybe get some MVP votes as well, just because he's really that good. So I think he's a runaway.
I'm not going to spend much time here. I mean, the guy batted third in the entire postseason. I mean, if they win the World Series, it's either him or Snell winning the MVP of the World Series. Yeah. I mean, this guy's a middle of that lineup, and the fact that they consider him a rookie is, I'll never understand how this makes any sense. But let's not spend any time, please. This is a lock. He stays healthy, it's a lock.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Sauter, give me your AL Cy Young Award winner.
I'm gonna take it home to the Bronx. I think my man Garrett Cole is going to feast a full 162 game season. He's just good. I think he's motivated. I think he's ready to dominate. We saw him turn it on last year towards the end of the year in ways that really, really proved why this man got paid. So I'm very excited to see a full season of Garrett Cole. I think tomorrow starts the Cy Young campaign for Mr. Garrett Cole, and we're going to prove why he's the $326 million man.
Go ahead, Mike.
This is going to pain me, but I have to agree. I think, I know people don't put a premium on how many wins you get as a pitcher, but with that lineup and the amount of run support he's going to get, I mean, he's going to win 20 games this year. I cannot see how he doesn't. And I don't know. I don't have anything to say really other than Garrett Cole is. I mean, he's that elite. He's great. I'm taking Garrett Cole as well. I agree with you.
All right, listen. This one dates back. Okay.
Uh-oh.
This one dates back for me, because back in my days when I was doing TV and radio at the good old William Patterson University.
Oh boy,
2019 season.
Willie
I was on the baseball block for TV, and they're like, Chris, who do you think your AL Cy Young Award winner is going to be? Similar situation where we're at right now. My answer is going to be the exact same. Jose Barrios, Minnesota Twins. Typical fastball, slider, Bugs Bunny curve.
No.
He's got all the tools, and I don't want to hear any rebuttal from you guys because he is electric on the mound.
Oh, no.
Sauter, just because I didn't pick Garrett Cole, I don't want to hear no. Listen,
there's definitely better options than.
Come on. I mean, Shane Bieber.
Negative.
Lucas Giolito. What are we
Barrios
doing
is
here?
my guy. I'm sticking with it, you can't
God.
talk me out of it. I'm not taking Tyler Glasnow. I'm not taking Giolito. Any of these guys that you want to spring on me. All right, it's not happening. Jose Barrios, and we'll see. We'll just see who's right in the end.
I'm marking it down right now.
Write it down with a permanent with a pen. Write it down.
Sautter, take note, please. Make a note of this. Oh my God.
21. Chris chose Jose Barrios as the AL Cy Young. So when we come back to this podcast,
he's not even the best pitcher in his division.
All right, we'll find out. We're really gonna find out.
Oh my God!
Where did you
come up with that? Like, why?
I just told you I like this guy.
God.
I told you he's a good pitcher. He's got electric stuff, and he's high strikeout pitcher. You write it down. Sauter wrote it down.
I did.
Sauter need to know.
Sauter, he tells me I don't want any pushback from you guys, and then blabbers Jose Barrios.
No. I said Jose Barrios and then told you I don't want any pushback because I want you to watch. I want you to see.
I'm watching, seeing. I have it written down. I have it highlighted. If we come back, honestly, by the trade deadline, you might have to. Wow, he might be like a 4 ERA by July.
Nah, come on, Sautter.
I'm
Come on,
kidding.
Sautter.
No disrespect to
Strictly,
Jose Barrios. He's very good. I do
strictly
agree
off
that
the arsenal. I don't know. He's right there at the top tier.
listen, he strikes out a lot of guys. He definitely, if he puts together for a whole year, he could be dangerous. I just don't.
He's gonna strike out over 200 batters.
You're 100% right, but the level Garrett Cole's on, there's really not another pitcher in the American League that's close to it. So, besides Bieber, but Bieber's only did it for 1 year. Let's be honest. Cole's got a pedigree of being dominant. So
that's a lot of the guys in the AL, Giolito and all these other guys.
Excuse me, I have something to say.
Oh, jeez.
Are we done with the Jose Barrios talk? This has been way too much on Jose Barrios.
Listen, I told you I didn't want any pushback. I just wanted to give my answer, and you guys respect me, and we can move forward. But the disrespect had to ensue when you got up and did a small, you had a little breakdown there.
I did. I had a little tantrum. Jose Barrios? Like, what are we doing? What's next? Who's next? Can please move on?
MVPs, AL MVPs.
I can start with that one.
This is easy.
Can we? Before we start, we all can agree, right? Can we just agree to not pick Trout? Everyone has to pick a different person, just for the sake of discussion. I mean,
I'll do that.
Trout. Everyone should have to pick someone. But all right, we unanimously agreed to give me Mike Trout, but this is our not Mike Trout pick.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, first or Chris?
Well, my pick was Trout, so go ahead.
Mine was Trout as well. No doubter.
I mean,
go ahead, Sautter.
We're talking about the best player in baseball. All right, so for not picking Mike Trout, I think that my AL MVP is Jose Ramirez. I think he's going to eat in the middle of that Indians order. He's going to hit 40 homers this year. He's switch hitting third baseman, plays good D. The AL Central to me stinks. Anytime you get a chance to play 18-19 game against the Tigers and the Twins in that ballpark, the ball just flies. The Kansas City Royals. I mean, what are we talking about here? And then, it's just, I think Ramirez is a great player. Last year, he was close to the AL MVP. Obviously, Jose Abreu did take it home, but I think a full year of Jose Ramirez, and he's the guy in Cleveland. So I definitely think Ramirez is my dark horse pick, obviously, if Mike Trout were to never play baseball again.
You got it, Mike?
You want me to go?
Go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to go with Jose Barrios. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to say Aaron Judge. And he has to stay healthy. That's the only thing that keeps him, to me, from winning. From being in the conversation. I mean, he can hit 40. You're healthy, he's hitting 40 home runs. He's batting 270, 280. No problem. Well over, 120 RBIs. I mean, it's a lock to be in the conversation. If Mike Trout were to, tear both ACLs.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think if he tears one, he's playing with one because he's that good.
Yeah. I'm gonna be in agreement with Mike on this one. I think Aaron Judge stays healthy, and I think Aaron Judge gets back to, 45 plus home runs. Like, the power is just unmatched with Aaron Judge, and I've seen him become a much better hitter over the first few years that he's been in this league. So, at first I thought he was a duplicate of Giancarlo Stanton, where he's just going to strike out, majority of the time. But he's turned into a lot more than that. And I have to give him credit. And I think he's also going to thrive in a season if he can stay healthy. And I think this is going to be his year to do so. And he'll take home some hardware. Not Garrett Cole on the Yankees taking home hardware. It's Aaron Judge.
I hope we both are right. As a Yankees fan, I would love to put my faith in Aaron Judge, but I've seen this script so many times. It's always if this guy could stay healthy, it's always a freak injury too, right? It's getting hit in the wrist or running into a wall or chewing on a chicken roll, whatever the case may be. But I hope you guys are both right. Love Aaron Judge. Love to see him stay healthy full year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's flip it to the National League, boys.
The hard league.
Okay.
Manager
Starting out with
of
the manager of the year.
Yeah, let's do manager of the year. Go ahead, Sautter.
All right, my manager of the year in the NL is I'm going to go with Jace Tingler in San Diego. I think they're ready to pop. I really do. They've made some huge offseason acquisitions. Blake Snell, Yu Darvish. I think Yu Darvish is the better of the two, personally. I think people are sleeping on Yu Darvish. He had that one bad year in Chicago, but last year was lights out. And I think he's a dark horse for NL Cy Young, which we'll talk about that later on. But I think Jace Tingler, I think the Padres are positioned to feast in that NL West that really isn't that good besides the Dodgers and the Padres. I mean, the Diamondbacks are still building. The Giants still stink. It's just, a lot of bad baseball in the NL West. The Rockies, I said the Rangers before. The Rockies are the worst run organization in baseball. I mean, they apologize to their fans for trading Arenado. It doesn't get lower than that. So the Padres are going to win 100 games, and they're going to win a wild card, which is sad, but I think Jace Tingler is going to be your NL manager of the year.
Wow.
All right, Sauter. I like it. I think the Padres are set to pop. I think they're going to have a good year as well. My choice is the new manager of the Chicago Cubs, David Ross.
Wow.
Chicago Cubs are going to win the NL Central. And for reasons, they added some serious juice to the middle of their lineup. And the serious juice would be Jock Peterson. The guy has 8 spring training home runs. He's going absolutely bonkers. And I'm serious. This team is going to rake. They know this guy like a friend, and he's going to be able to resonate with that locker room on a different level than some of these other guys. And on a serious note, I do think David Ross is, a great candidate to be not only just the manager of the year this year, but a good manager for a very long time. He's just, a dark horse pick for the sake of being different. Almost took Louis Rojas. That's my guy.
He was number 2.
Yeah. But go ahead, Mike. You don't like any of my picks. It's fine.
No.
You're never going to like them. They'll grow on you.
There's one answer, and it's Louis Rojas. Okay, his team has nowhere to go but up. Okay, they literally put a roster around Louis Rojas where you cannot mess this up. You're a playoff team. You are a playoff team, and if you go from last place to where you were last year to a playoff team this year, hello, Louis Rojas. Tingler, you made the playoffs last year. I mean, who are the other guys? Mike Schilt. I mean, you were in the playoffs last year as well.
Snicker.
Dave Roberts is always in it because they're going to win, 110, 115 games. So
okay, Dave Roberts.
Craig
who else?
Counsell.
Oh nope. I'm not doing the Craig Counsell thing. We're not going there. We're not going there. I think Mike Schilt has a shot at it from the Cardinals if they do well.
And the Central's a lot of bad baseball.
I chose Ross for the sake of someone that is going to make a lot out of the roster that he has. He doesn't have the Mets roster. He doesn't have the Dodgers roster, the Padres roster.
Right.
That's the reason why I chose Ross. They tend to give these awards to people who do a lot with less.
Despite the Atlanta Braves roster, I really like Brian Snicker.
Yeah.
In Atlanta. I really do. I really, really do.
You know what's sad? I mean, this is another conversation for another day. The manager in baseball really, with the analytics of the game, is very toned down, and a lot of decisions are being made for them. So it should really be front office of the year award, like a collective award, because a lot of decisions aren't made to the manager anymore. These guys are handed a piece of paper, and they're pretty much told this is the best move. I mean, some guys have freedom to use the analytics and managerial, but yeah, I get what you're saying, though. Someone has to win it, right? That's how I feel about it at this point.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, that's an excellent point from you, though, Sauter. We got to move forward here with the National League Rookie of the Year. Sauter, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I think the National League Rookie of the Year is going to come from the NL East, and it's going to come from someone you don't want to see. I think it's going to be Ian Anderson. This kid is a monster. We saw last year a little taste of what he could do, especially in the postseason when the lights were brightest. This guy was just shutting people out. I'm pretty sure he still can't buy liquor legally. I mean, he's young. He has great stuff. I'm very excited to see a full season of Ian Anderson. I think, he's the only thing is he is pitching in a tough division. So it's going to be a lot of growing up. You're facing some good lineups. The Mets, the Phillies can hit. I mean, they just can't pitch. We'll see what happens this year. But the Mets, the Phillies, and the Nats all have good hitting lineups. So he's going to have to navigate a tough NL East. But I think he does successfully. I think the stuff's there. The stuff's good. And I see him coming to the top and getting some votes for that, winning NL Rookie of the Year.
Mm-mm. He's got a shot. But yeah, the NL East is tough, so I kind of shy away from that. Everything I'm seeing, I haven't seen much of this guy, but I'm gonna go with what the experts are saying, and it's Ke'Bryan Hayes, right, from the Pirates. Oh, I mean, everything I'm reading and watching, I mean, this guy's gonna be an elite talent.
Right.
So I'm gonna roll with him. Based off just, it's hard. It's not like the NBA or the NFL where you watch these guys in college. I can't watch these guys for 3-4 years in the minors, to see how good they're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of got to trust what others say and a little bit of tape that I see. So I'm going to go with Ke'Bryan Hayes. They're telling me it's a lock.
Right. I mean, I think for the NL sorry, let me interject.
No,
but
go ahead.
I think the year is one of those awards where your team doesn't necessarily need to be good. So it's so hard. And I guarantee there's going to be somebody in that top 3 in both leagues that did not start the year on the major league roster. So it's like Mike said, it's just hard to predict award. So I'm just, going with guys that you've seen is definitely the easy pick. And that's why I like Ke'Bryan Hayes. I think he's definitely in there. And I like Ian Anderson as well, because we've seen them. We know they can compete in the major league level.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I wanted to take a hitter. I wanted to take Dylan Carlson from the Cardinals. I just don't trust the fact that he'll be consistent in the lineup, off the rip from the very beginning, and able to compile and be able to compile these stats. So my choice is also from the NL East, Sautter. It's also a pitcher, Sixto Sanchez from the Miami Marlins. Just the small sample size I saw from him last season, he's a nasty, nasty pitcher.
Electric.
And he has electric stuff. He's going to push 100. He's got stuff that moves all across, left, right, everywhere. So I have to rock with him just based off the pure potential. If he can figure it out and put some things together, I think the Marlins have an ace on their hands with him.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna move on to the Cy Young here.
Oh yeah, if this isn't unanimous, then we might as well just shut it off right now.
I mean, is this Mike Trout status? Are we picking somebody other than DeGrom?
I really do. I think this is Mike Trout status. I mean, DeGrom has proven he's the best pitcher in baseball. I don't see how anybody could pick anybody else. If you want to pick somebody else and not say DeGrom, I implore. But I'm kind of with everybody on board here to give him the Mike Trout treatment, and let's all pick
somebody else.
A dark horse. Yeah. So if we're gonna go for another pitcher in the NL, I think that I don't want to pick Bauer again. I think Bauer is, I think he's good, but we'll see. But my pick is Yu Darvish. I know I alluded to it earlier. I think this guy was one of the better pitchers in baseball last year. I think he finished 3rd last year in Cy Young voting, if I'm not mistaken. Right? I think it was 1 Bauer, 2 DeGrom, 3 Darvish. He's going to a bigger ballpark in San Diego. He's going to be on a better team. I think he's poised to really take off from where he was last year. I mean, the guy's proven throughout his career to be a good pitcher, and I think I could see him winning the NL Cy Young. Again, this is prompting DeGrom somehow doesn't play baseball this year, but that's my dark horse pick.
I will follow you up, Sautter. This is someone I've liked since he came up, and he was in the Rookie of the Year running when he came up, just recently. I think he might have won the award, but it's Jack Flaherty from the Cardinals, their ace pitcher. He's incredible as well. Just somebody who's going to pile up stats, and that's what you need in order to win the Cy Young. And in case you guys haven't noticed, I'm picking pitchers directly off of my fantasy team. We have high hopes. We're going straight to the top with Berrios and Verlander. Yes, the two Cy Young Award winners. But no, DeGrom's winning this award. I would bet the house on it. He's going to win this award. I'm sure the odds are terrible because they know he's going to win the award as well, as long as he plays the full season, like you said, Sautter.
Yeah,
I mean,
Chris,
go ahead.
you took the words right out of my mouth, Chris. I was taking Jack Flaherty.
He's a good pitcher, man.
Not last year, the year before. I mean, he carried the Cardinals, carried them. I mean, if it wasn't for DeGrom, Flaherty wins the award.
Yep.
And I think in a full season, I think he's that good. With an improved roster that the Cardinals have, you mentioned Dylan Carlson earlier. They added Arenado. He's going to get some added run support, to already elite stuff. I think Flaherty's going to be up there.
Yep.
I really do.
Yep. And let's pivot to the NL MVP. Sautter, you've been kicking us off this whole time, man. Who do you have for the NL MVP?
This is probably my favorite award to pick, and that's just because
this one's
wide open, and just the amazing talent in the NL. And there really is so many avenues you can go, and I wouldn't say you're wrong either way. I'm going to go with the guy that I think is going to go 40-40 this year, Ronald Acuna. I think he's going to be your NL MVP. It was between him and Juan Soto. I think Acuna just plays better defense. I think he's going to steal more bases, and I think he's going to be the flashier player. Soto might hit 350 and 40 bombs, so it might be for nothing. But I just think Acuna, when all said and done, he's going to have all the categories filled, and you know how much those writers love players that fill every category. So Ronald Acuna, 2021 NL MVP.
That's right. Go ahead, Mike.
Oof. So mine came down to two players. Sautter, I agree. Acuna, he's there. He's one of the two. My other one, Soto was close, but you mentioned 40-40. And to me, the only other guy that can go 40-40 in this league, in the National League, I'm saying, is Fernando Tatis Jr.
Love it.
But I'm not picking him to win it. I'm going to stick with Acuna. I think Ronald Acuna Jr. wins the MVP. I mean, he's just a little more seasoned than Tatis. And, I mean, you can book 40-40 for Acuna. I mean, you can book it. That's not even like a prediction. That's like lock it in.
Yeah.
And they're going to win the division, I think. I'm going Acuna. I mean, they have everything going for them in Atlanta, and he is that good.
Talk about a steal of a contract. 8 years, $100 million.
Yeah, that's a bargain. He when he signed that deal, I was like, wow. I think when he first came up, or maybe a year or so ago, I told Mike, like, this guy's going to end up being the best player in the National League, I think, just because of how well-rounded he is.
Yeah.
But my choice is kind of like, tied into both of your guys' choices. So everything in me wants to pick Juan Soto, but Juan Soto is going to have to hit 50 bombs and go well over 300 because he's not stealing bases like
Correct.
Tatis or Acuna. So I'm taking Tatis for the, I think it's going to be another, 40-40 candidate like you guys just alluded to. I mean, he's going to be on a really good team this year, and he's going to be good for baseball. Like, he's the guy with the flair. Acuna has it too. Soto has a little bit of it as well. And they're all young and up and coming. But Tatis is just, he's slowly turning into the face of baseball for me. And I think he's got a real shot to take over the league with his flair and the way he plays the game and makes it fun again, which I think everybody's kind of looking for. But I would give Tatis the nod for NL MVP. And that wraps up our awards. I mean, is there any honorable mentions we need to mention? Anybody who's going to break out?
There's definitely some guys I think are going to break out. I think not really a breakout, but I look for a guy to return to form, Cody Bellinger. I think people might be writing him off. I know, but we didn't even mention his name. And I would not be shocked to see him right back in that conversation at NL MVP. He plays center field, plays first base. Wherever he plays well. So that's another guy I think we should need to keep in mind.
So I agree. I agree with the Bellinger stuff. The problem is that team is so good. They have so many players. I feel like they all get overshadowed.
Yeah.
There's just so many good guys. Like Bellinger will be having a great year, and you take a look, and Betts is having a better one. It's just, yeah, you got Seager, who I'm looking online right now. A couple of people picked him for NL MVP.
Right.
I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. It's wide open. And it's also tough. You got COVID going on. You never know who's going to play, who's not going to play.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
tough.
I look for a strong bounce back year from two players in the NL East. One being Bryce Harper. I just think he's too good of a hitter. He's a professional hitter, and the team's going to be able to hit. Like Sautter said, the hitting was never the issue in Philly. I think Bryce Harper is going to have a solid season. He looked okay in the shortened season as well, but Trey Turner, if he can stay healthy, is another one who's going to make noise. Not MVP noise, but he's just going to keep that team, right where they need to be. Him and Soto, that they can pace a lineup for sure.
For
But
sure.
listen, Sauter, it was very fun to have you, man. We got to do it again.
I can't wait. I have my stuff down. I'm ready to come
We
back
did.
with you,
We didn't get
Barrios.
to. We
My
didn't get
God.
to our Knicks. We didn't get to our Knicks, but we will. We will in the future, man. We got a long time for them, and it looks like we got a postseason run coming. So
Yes.
we'll get into them. But listen, love to have you, man. You're always welcome, and thanks for
Hey,
joining the
Sauter.
brothers.
Sauter, do me a favor.
We're,
You write down Jose Barrios,
oh, it's on.
please.
It's
I made
already
it.
done. It's
That,
already
that
done.
put
Initial
that
it.
on the list.
Do what you have to do, and we'll revisit. That's all I got to say. We're gonna revisit it. So.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. Um, I really appreciate it. As you guys mentioned, this is the first podcast. I'm honored to be the first guest. Call me back anytime. I'll be here. Chris, Jose Barrios is etched into my desk. I carved into my desk, so I can't forget it.
Good. Let's do it.
But we'll
I'm
catch up later.
juiced up.
It was great talking to you guys. And thank you again. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the podcast. I know it's going to take off.
Yeah, man. The
All
brothers
right,
in
Sauter.
ball. We'll be back after a quick
Be
break.
good,
Thanks
Sauter.
again, Sauter. All right, welcome back in Brothers and Ball podcast. We have one more segment to bring to you guys. We need to talk about the NBA deadline and buyout deals, and we're going to do it in quick draw fashion. We're going to call this game Quick Draw, 15 seconds to react to deals that were made. Me and Mike are going to go back and forth. So, Mike, you ready to go quick draw?
Let's do it.
All right, I got the timer. Let's set that. And I want you to react to Andre Drummond going to the Lakers.
Andre Drummond. Smart move by the Lakers. Smart move by Drummond. He wants to win. He wants to build his value. It is the right place to go. LeBron and AD will be back, and this team will be a force down the stretch for sure. Okay, I'm going to flip to you, not a player. Let's do the Knicks.
All right, so the Knicks frustrated the hell out of me at the deadline. You can make a marginal move. You don't have to break the bank. I would have loved Lonzo Ball, but I'm not setting that as the bar. You could have done so much more than trading Austin Rivers for some buyout players. It's really, really bad.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. I want to flip it back around to you, not a player, but once again, a team that made a few additions. The Brooklyn Nets added LaMarcus and Blake Griffin. You got 15 seconds.
It doesn't do much for me. I mean, this team is the same as they were. Kyrie, Harden, and Durant is what makes this team go. Yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake sound good, but this team is going to go as far as those big three take them by far. By far.
I'm right with you.
Yeah. So I'm going to turn this around. Portland made a deal. I like Portland a lot. They sent a player away, Gary Trent. Rodney Hood wasn't playing too well. Gary Trent was, but they did get Norman Powell, who's a great player. So go ahead, Norman Powell to Portland.
All right, Norman Powell to Portland matters. And the reason is because he's Gary Trent and he's Rodney Hood, but he does what they do better. Now, I like the trade from both aspects because I do like Toronto getting Gary Trent for the long game. But the deal itself, it makes sense for both teams. For Portland, it matters in the playoffs for Norman Powell.
Agreed. Portland got better with that deal.
Yep. All right, Mike, your last quick draw topic tonight. PJ Tucker to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yes. So PJ Tucker was not originally on our list, but I had to put him on because I feel like he is a deadline move that makes Milwaukee a threat. We're not asking Giannis to guard the best player on the floor every night now. You have PJ Tucker to do the dirty work, and that's a big deal to me. So I'm going PJ Tucker as the biggest move at the deadline.
Nice.
All right. And your last one, Chris, this is one that made not too much sense to me, but we'll see what you think. And it's Vucevic to the Bulls.
Okay, so Vucevic to the Bulls, the reason why it doesn't make much sense, I'm right with you, is because they're not going places. They're not going to beat anyone in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, Vucevic or not. So to mortgage a couple first round picks for this guy, I don't think it was the right move at all. But listen, that's our quick draw segment. We're going to get back to that. That was good. I like that a lot.
I'm good with the quick draw. That's nice.
Absolutely. And we're going to get into some more NBA stuff when it comes around. Next week on our podcast, we will get it to you. And listen, any words for our listeners, Mike?
Look, please stick with us, support us, and let's get this thing done. Anybody who has anything that they want to hear, that they want to hear us talk about, let us know. I mean, I'm open to everything. This is I'm all ears. So let's make it happen. I know we had some stuff we didn't get to, that we'll get to, next week. And let's make it happen. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. Happy to get this started with you, and happy to have any listeners that are willing to listen, and anyone with feedback. We appreciate it. We're going to get into a lot more stuff. We're just getting started, but this was the pilot episode, man. Brothers in Ball.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
First of many.
That's right. I'm Chris Douglas. That's Mike Douglas. Please give us a listen. Thanks for listening.
Let's go. Be good.